All right, shalom everyone, and welcome to another Shabbat teaching here as we are looking into the topic, very mysterious topic, full 100, three end time dreams and their implications for us. Can you pass that phone, please? I'll have to set up this. Let me set this up. Done. Let me get this thing. Let me see. Try a video.
Welcome to the Truth of
It's
Yah.
coming through, eh?
The Truth of Yah's board game mission is to
All right, just testing that. Okay. All right. So this week has been a weird week. Like much has been revealed through dreams, through the scriptures. A lot of understanding has been revealed over the past few weeks. And there's so much to this. The main thing about it is the spiritual state of believers. This is what has been highlighted over the past few weeks that culminated in these dreams and what we are presenting today. Because we can be believers thinking that we are okay, but get caught up in routines. And when we get caught up in routines, we become stagnant and we don't know that we have become stagnant. And this is a personal experience for myself. Personal experience, speaking from personal experience, no one else's experience but mine, and then seeing the big picture of assemblies, people all over the world, how we can be deceived by routines. Because after, for example, myself, getting caught up in producing audio for the radio, videos, doing the teachings in the mornings, doing teachings at weekend times, they can get so overwhelming that it just becomes a routine. You just go to do this, do that, wake up in the morning, do this. And during the day, you do that and you do that. And then you don't realize that you're distancing yourselves from Yahuwah unknowingly. Unknowingly. And that is what happened to me. I found myself spiritually getting weaker. When I say weaker spiritually, I mean the connection with the Most High. The dreams were going away. When I inquired, there was nothing. There was just this distance from the Most High. Until I woke up to it. And I started not only seeing it with myself, but seeing it with other people. And then waking up and realizing that we have to do something about it. And I personally repented and also sought the Most High as to the different ways that I was lacking. And I found many, many ways, many, many shortfalls, many shortcomings during that journey. And it was a very exhilarating journey, because to find the faults and confess them, it leaves it just takes a burden off oneself. Such a burden of oneself that one feels free. And since then, there's more that I have learned about this journey. Many of us people are going to get caught up in being stagnant. So please listen to this teaching very carefully. All right? Now, let's do a recap of our previous teaching, because it all has to do with emunah. Because faith, because routines are there for religious people. Routines are there for religious people who just go through. I had a thing about routines, I can't find it. Who just go through the rituals. What you call it? Not really emotions. The motions, yes. You just go through the motions. Just go to the motions because you are here, you are this. So, for example, many of us online, we come to the truth, and all we do, the motions we go through is a seek scripture, seek scripture, seek scripture. There is no faith. And we must remember that it says without faith, it is impossible to please him. We have to mix, as last teaching said, we have to mix faith with the word in order for it to benefit us. So the recap of our previous teaching, faith and the word. First thing we looked at, we just looked at 4 major points or 5 major points. Without walking in the spiritual manifestation of the word, which is Yahusha, we are going to be blinded. And for that, you can look for 2 Corinthians 4, 3-6, Galatians 5, 16-26. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you will get to see the different verses. Another thing is the purpose of the scripture. It is able to save us, but by itself it cannot save us. And for that we go to 2 Timothy 3, verse 15. It needs faith in order for the scriptures to have its way so it can save us. Number 3, if the scripture is not mixed with faith, it is dead. Hebrews 4:2. For unto us was the good news preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So if we don't mix the word with faith, it is not going to profit us. Faith is the bottom line. Last week's teaching, this week's teaching. The fourth thing is that avoiding faith, we can avoid faith, and this is what many religious people do, avoid faith by setting up our own standard of righteousness. For that, you go to Romans 10, 1-4, and I think Philippians 3 again, setting up our own righteousness. Not the righteousness that is through the stumbling stone, Yahushua HaMashiach. And the fifth thing is only those who walk in the faith of Yahushua will enter the kingdom. And for that, Revelation 21, verse 8, Revelation 14, 12. Okay? Now the first dream. Because we're going to show the dream, and then we're going to show or speak about which prophecy the dream in the Bible, the dream actually matches the best. So this is my dream. I dreamt that I was in an open field, and there were brothers and sisters there with me. And there was a brother there with me, and he was there fooling around, wasting time. And I looked at him and I walked away. And then I walked over to a sister. She was there wasting time as well, and I was there talking with her, laughing with her, wasting time as well. Now, all of a sudden, when I looked like two mountains appeared. Two hazy, dark, gray, bluish looking mountains appeared. When I look at the mountains were bare. And then after that, the mountains started to become a city. So we just saw buildings start popping up, and then faster and faster, buildings start popping up. And then it looked like one big, beautiful, sprawling, beautiful city. Now I was there in awe and turning to other people. Do you see that? You see that city? Look how beautiful it is. And when I was looking at the city, then all of a sudden, one drop of fire, two drops of fire, more fire, more fire. Fire started raining down on the city. And we were there watching the fire raining down on the city more and more, and it got more and more. Until before we knew it, the fire started spreading. And by the time we realized it was coming towards us, we started running. And we started running to see if we could outrun the fire. But the fire outran us. And I was there running. And when the fire came, I thought that I would be consumed. But I was still running in the fire and nothing was touching me. And someone else beside me, I don't know who the person was. And so I was running until I woke up. Now, this thing about this dream, the significance of this dream, was that, you see, everything that we're going to speak today is tied in together. You would have to listen to get as they tie in. There was a group of believers here who wanted to be baptized, who wanted to be immersed. Some of them were immersed already, and they were saying that they want to start over. They now understand. They never understood what it was in the beginning, why they were baptized, etc. Now they understand, and they want to rededicate their life. So we were on our way to a place where someone told us, we have never been to that place before. So the person told us that he can take us there to be immersed. So we drove and we drove. And lo and behold, while we were driving, I was in shock. Because when we reached to a particular part near the end of the journey, when I looked, it was the place of my dream. The same mountain laid out. It's the same way I saw it laid out. It was a very scary moment for me. And I was saying, what is this? Anyway, we went and we got those who were to be baptized, were baptized, and we left the area. No, that was the fire. No. When I checked the scriptures, it matched the destruction of Babylon with fire. In Jeremiah 51, verse 49 to 58, it brought this to mind. And there are other places where it tells us about Babylon being destroyed with fire. Jeremiah 51, 49. Read it, please.
As Babylon hath caused the slain of Yasharel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the earth. Ye that have escaped the sword, go away, stand not still. Remember Yahuwah afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind.
So it's telling us at this time, now is the time to be focused on the end time. Let Jerusalem come into your mind. All right? Ye that have escaped the sword. These are our people who have been sent into captivity. We who have escaped the sword, we must remember Yahuwah and let Jerusalem come into our minds. Remember when we were there, we were, as I said, we were fooling around, chatting, laughing. This is a time when we have to be totally focused. Verse 51.
We are confounded, because we have heard reproach. Shame hath covered our faces. For strangers are come into the sanctuaries of Yahuwah's house. Wherefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that I will do judgment upon her graven images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith Yahuwah.
As I said, a beautiful city came up. It ended up with a beautiful city with buildings looking golden and pretty. Verse 54.
A sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans, because Yahuwah hath spoiled Babylon, and destroyed out of her the great voice, when her waves do roar like great waters, a noise of their voice is uttered. Because the spoiler is come upon her, even upon Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken, for Yahuwah Eluah of recompenses shall surely requite. And I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her captains and her rulers, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, saith the King, whose name is Yahuwah Sabaoth.
All right, so here comes the fire part now, verse 58.
Thus saith Yahuwah Sabaoth, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in the fire, and they shall be weary.
Right, so this is what comes to mind, the destruction of Babylon. Now, as I said, everything is correlated. So pieces of this are going to come up again. Everything matches up. All right. So then, the same sister that I dreamt about in the dream, the first dream, she had a dream herself as well. So I dreamt about fire. She dreamt about water. Water, and we know water and fire in the scriptures. So let's hear her dream.
The dream was of myself and a man. And he said, I hear you have a prophecy for me. Come and tell me. So we began to talk, not about the prophecy yet. But then after a time I said, anyway, that's not what I came to tell you. Let me tell you the message. Let me give you the message I came to give you. And then as I was about to give him the message, huge, jagged hailstones began to fall from the sky. We were standing under a blue canopy, but everybody else was like outside in the open, and they were running around, screaming, shouting, people frantic and in a panic. And so there was a building just maybe 50 meters off from where we were standing. So I said, should we go there for shelter? And he said no. Next thing I noticed was a huge wave, huge, big and tall and blue, coming out from in the distance. Now, we were not near the sea or anything like that. I even could see like mountains far off. But this huge wave was coming, and I took out my phone to take a picture of it, thinking I had enough time to take the picture and then get out of the way.
All right, so it's a similar thing. Remember, I told you that while I was watching the city burning, the fire was spreading, and it never looked as if it was coming our way because it was so in the distance. I thought that we could have time to just look at it, and the city would just burn. It's the same thing with her. She took out her camera, never knew that the water was also coming.
After I finished taking the picture,
And by the way, that again refers to us. We never know the day nor the hour. When we think it's peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon us like travail upon a woman with child. I think that is a warning to tell us that things will happen when we least expect it, and when it happens, we are not going to have any control over it.
of the wave, I realized it was much closer than before. And I observed that the wave was moving like in a snake-like pattern from side to side. It was just going huge from side to side. So then me and the man turned and began to run away from it. And as we ran, we jumped onto this tree as if we were jumping off a cliff. But we jumped onto this huge tree. It was huge, like a skyscraper type of building, that type of massive and tall. And we could see that other people were on the tree trunk down below, climbing, holding on to the tree. And there were people on the ground, buildings down below, as if we were like up above a city or something like that. So the wave was coming, and me and the man began to climb the tree to get closer up to where the leaves were. So as we began to climb and we got up a little higher, the wave just came over and crashed down, but then it like disappeared. So it's as if it went over the cliff, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. You couldn't see any water anymore, nothing. But you saw the ground below. The dirt looked as if, it had been wet before. And so as we looked down, looking at the people, some people were standing up as if the wave hadn't affected them. And then there were others who were standing, and then they began to fall down. And so I remembered my mother and my sister. And I said, I have to go and look for them. So I jumped down from the tree to go and look for them. But when I jumped down to the ground, I couldn't see anymore. It was as if I jumped down into darkness. Whereas before, when I was looking down from up in the tree, I could see very well. It was like daytime. You could see all the buildings, all the people, clear as day. But soon as I jumped down, couldn't see anything anymore. As well as when the wave came, it didn't touch me or the man who were up in the tree. Those of us who were high up, it didn't touch any of us. So yeah, that was the dream. After I jumped down to the ground and realized I couldn't see, I woke up.
All right, so that is the other one. That dream there, several scriptures come to mind. There's several scriptures packed into that one. People staggering, the hailstones, the water. Let's go to Isaiah 28 first. Isaiah 28.
Woe to the crown of pride.
Excuse me. Remember, she said that the people were staggering or something like that? Huh? Something like that? People were staggering, yeah. Read verse 1.
Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose exalted beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine.
Overcome with wine refers to drunkenness, the drunkenness of Babylon. Huh? I think she said it at the end. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the drunkenness, again, of Babylon in the end time, overcome with wine. Verse 2.
Behold, Yahuwah hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand.
All right, this verse here says it. The hail that she dreamt about and the flood of mighty waters overflowing. It says, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. Verse 3. And another thing here, all of what we are going to be saying, most of what we're going to be saying today has to do with pride. Those with pride are going to be trodden down. As I said, everything here intermatches. Everything matches with the other. Something of something matches. Verse 3.
The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet, and the exalted beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley, shall be a fading flower, and as the hasty fruit before the summer, which when he that looketh upon it seeth, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up.
All right, so she spoke about a cliff. So the head of the fat valley, in between the cliff, would be a valley, wouldn't it? Verse 5.
In that day shall Yahuwah Sabaoth be for a crown of splendor, and for a diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people, and for a ruach of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate.
Verse 7.
But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way.
Drunkenness.
The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment.
All right, for those who might not understand this drunkenness, the drunkenness we are talking about goes to Jeremiah 51, verse 7. Go ahead.
Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad.
Go also to Revelation 18. This is the drunkenness we're talking about. Verse 2, this is the angel crying from verse 2.
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul ruach, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
So this drunkenness is being caught up in the greed of Babylon, buying and selling and riches and merchandising and all of that. So it says, the priests and their prophets are drunken because the prophets, the persons who are pastors, teachers, whatever, are caught up in the drunkenness of Babylon. So this is the overflowing flood. When the overflowing flood comes, then they will be swept away. Okay? Now, another thing that that dream brings me to, of course, it should have come to your mind already. It is Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12 and let's go to verse 15 to get why it came to mind. Verse 15 to 16.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Remember, she said when the water was coming in, it was looping like a serpent, like a snake. Yes? And remember, she said she ran and she jumped over the cliff and she landed on a tree. It says, the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So when there was a cliff, then the water went over into the cliff. She was in the tree, and so she was helped by the earth. Now, this Revelation 12 here refers to the wilderness. Let's go to verse 13.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time from the face of the serpent.
Continue now.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Verse 17.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Eluah, and have the testimony of Yahusha HaMashiach.
So here we go now. The woman had a place. They were in the wilderness because them being in the tree, etc., being helped by the earth, is a play on the wilderness. What happened when she was in the tree? She was in the safety that the earth gave, but then she stepped down. It is down where the problem is. Stepping back down. Because we see that when the dragon could not catch the woman, he went to make war with the remnant of her seed. The remnant of her seed would be those who she saw that were stumbling, that were drunken, after Satan launched his attacks. So when she stepped down, she stepped right in the lot where these people are. So it's like she stepped backward, back into Babylon. And so she only saw what? Darkness. Because what is there in Babylon? Nothing but darkness. And darkness means sin, and everything that is negative is in Babylon. So that is Satan poured out water as a flood. Now, let me tell you something about our salvation. It is never, ever, ever going to be a smooth sailing. As it said in, let's go to Sirach 2, verse 1. Sirach, let me get it. Or the book of Ecclesiasticus. Sirach chapter 2, verse 1. Read it, please.
My son, if thou come to serve Yahuwah, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Continue.
Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
So here is our salvation now. Problems throughout. But in the end, when we overcome the problems, then we shall be increased. That is the life of a believer. There's no other way. There's no comfortable way to go through unto true salvation. The only other comfortable way you can find is the illegitimate way, and that is through religion. Going through routines, assuring yourself that as long as we do this, we are okay. That will give you a false sense of security. It will deceive you. Because here is how the Most High works. The Most High knows that we are flesh and that we are sinful flesh. He knows that sinful flesh cannot enter his kingdom. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. So he has to help us by getting our sinful flesh into so much affliction that we no longer rely on the flesh, or we no longer have the flesh ruling us. We go over into the Ruach, over into the world of the Ruach. When we go over into the Ruach, that is how we can inherit the kingdom. The Ruach can inherit the kingdom. So we're going to have trouble, temptation, everything in order to get us to think spiritually, to live spiritually. When we live spiritually, we can enter the kingdom. So we just look at the dreams. We just want to look at how we overcome in order for us to be on the right side in those dreams, in order that we are not on the side of sinners. All right? So it is best to be tried with water and fire before Yahuwah's wrath comes. Because what we just looked at was the wrath of Yahuwah, especially the first dream with the fire. The wrath of Yahuwah. The second one is Hasatan. All right? The one with the water is Hasatan trying his thing. The one with fire is Yahuwah burning Babylon with fire in his wrath. Now, the wrath of Yahuwah is inevitable in the end time. It is best to be tried with water and fire before Yahuwah's wrath comes, so that we are perfected through the water and the fire, so that when his wrath comes, we would have been perfected and he would take us and he would hide us from his wrath. Now, if we do not go through his wrath now to be perfected, now, if we hide every time trials, troubles, tribulation, tests come, we hide and we complain and we run, then when his wrath comes, we will not be perfected. Yes? So we're going to look at how we escape by being tried with water and fire now before his wrath comes. And the first provision he gave us in the end times was for us to gather ourselves together. And you know where I'm going? Zephaniah 2 verses 1 to 2. The first thing he says before his wrath comes. No, the first thing you do, people, my children, gather yourselves together. Zephaniah 2 verses 1 to 2 to 3.
Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree, bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of Yahuwah come upon you, before the day of Yahuwah's anger come upon you.
This is the day of Yahuwah. Before the day comes, gather yourselves together. So for people in the end times, this is the time to gather ourselves together. Those dreams are warnings of things that are going to come upon us suddenly. The antidote, gather yourselves together. Many people know that this is the end times. They know that a lot of things are coming. What are they doing? They are relocating. That's not what the Most High says. He says, gather yourselves together. Because when you gather together, that is where the trouble begins. Because you're going to have people, different experiences, different every single thing, different temperament, different culture, different everything. And he's going to put you together, and then you overcoming is you maneuvering through all of those ups and downs in order to be perfected. You're going to be afflicted. You're going to go through all different types of things. Okay? And as we had said earlier, that pride has a lot to do with what? A lot of things are going to come up with pride, because verse 3 of Zephaniah 2 tells us this.
Seek ye Yahuwah,
All ye meek of the earth. Hold on, please. All ye meek of the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. So when you gather together, it has to be the humble who gather together. We have to gather in humility. There cannot be any pride among us, or we will not get a positive, a good result. Start 3 again, please.
Seek ye Yahuwah, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness.
Seek meekness. It may be.
Ye shall be hid in the day of Yahuwah's anger.
So you see the first provision he makes for us? Gather together, but gather in humility and seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be, it's no guarantee. So we here who are gathered together in this place, there's no guarantee that any one of us will be hid in the day of Yahuwah's anger. What we're going to look at today is what we must do, what we have to do, things that encouragingly will show us how we can be hid in the day of Yahuwah's anger, how we can overcome whatever is coming on this earth. So we spoke about affliction. We are afflicted to make sure we do not face affliction in the end. We said that earlier. We are afflicted now. So people, every one of us, when we go through afflictions, people, please be happy. Rejoice. Because it is actually deflecting us from affliction that is coming in the end. And that is why for us now, the best thing that we can do is even to do what? Afflict our own selves. Which comes where fasting and prayer comes in. Okay? We have to love affliction. Psalm 66, verses 8 to 12. Psalm 66, verses 8 to 12. We are here, people, I'm just telling you the truth. The religion does not tell you these things, because religion has to make you happy so that you can come back and keep coming back and build up their numbers and fill their churches. We are not begging you for anything, so we can tell you the plain truth. Not that we don't need, but we don't beg. So we can tell you the truth, whether you are happy or not, whether you're angry with us or not. It is the truth. Psalm 66, start at verse 8.
O Barak our Eluah, ye people, and make the voice of his praise to be heard, which holdeth our soul in life, and suffereth not our feet to be moved.
Right, so this is what Yahuwah does. He holds our soul in life and suffers not our feet to be moved, so he protects us. But here is the condition of him protecting us. Here is the reason why now he is able to protect us. Verse 10.
For thou, O Eluah, hast proved us. Thou hast tried us, as silver is tried.
Mm-hmm.
Thou broughtest us into the net.
Mm-hmm.
Thou laidest affliction upon our loins.
Mm-hmm.
Thou hast caused men to ride over our heads. We went through fire and through water, but thou broughtest us out into a wealthy place.
Okay, then. So we see the affliction there. The word for affliction is the Hebrew word mu'akar, which means, comes from 5781, pressure. That is figuratively distress. So the Most High has laid distress upon us. Why has he laid distress upon us? Because he has to try us. Verse 10, thou hast proved us, thou hast tried us as silver is tried. Thou broughtest us into the net. So he brought us into a place where we cannot escape. Thou layest affliction upon our loins. Thou hast caused men to ride over our heads. We went through fire and through water, both dreams, fire and water. But thou broughtest us out into a wealthy place. So in the end, we are brought into a good place. Because the word there, wealthy, means a prosperous place, a good place. So after going through everything, that's what I'm trying to say at all times, going through the roughness, there is a time that is laid up at the end when the Most High is going to bring us out of all that we are going through. But first, we have to go through it. Now, let me just remind us of some things that prevent us from being worthy of the kingdom. Revelation 12:11, some things that make us worthy of the kingdom. This is why we have to go through afflictions, because we have to reach to the point where we overcome these things. If we don't overcome these things, we have nowhere going, we are wasting our time. Revelation 12:11.
And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
So we have to walk in the blood of the Lamb. And we have to reach to the point where we do not love our lives unto the death. Now, for us to not care about our lives, whether we live or die, this is not an easy feat. We have to be taken through different experiences where we reach to the point where we don't even care whether we live or die as long as we are in righteousness. Many believers are not here as yet. So it shows us that we cannot overcome Satan unless we reach to the point where we do not love our lives unto the death, which is why the Most High puts us through suffering, afflictions, and everything, and wakes us up to make us not even care about dying. Another thing, set of things that keep us out of the kingdom, 2 Thessalonians 1 verse 4.
So that we ourselves exalt in you in the assemblies of Allua, for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations that ye endure.
So we build patience and faith. As we said, faith is a big core of this. We build patience and faith when we go through persecutions and tribulations. That is how we reach to the point where we do not love our lives unto the death. We have to go through these things. Verse 5.
Which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of Allua, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of Allua, for which ye also suffer.
All right. So this suffering, persecutions, and tribulations, which builds our patience and faith, is a manifest, it is an expressed token of the righteous judgment of Allua. Not my judgment, it's Yahuwah's judgment. That you go through those things so that you can be worthy of the kingdom for which you suffer. We have to suffer for the kingdom just as Hamashiach suffered for the kingdom. So that is why we have to go through afflictions, people, to sharpen ourselves up through patience and faith and long suffering and all of those things so that we can be counted worthy of the kingdom. Me, myself, as the person who is here teaching, I have to earnestly and zealously speak these truths because these truths are not often emphasized. Most people teaching, they will not be teaching these things, and without these things, we are wasting our time. It doesn't make any sense. I'll be there speaking about anything else, and then we are not ready for the kingdom. My job is, whomever is listening, is to give them the words that will make them ready to enter the kingdom. Now here's another verse, Revelation 14:12, that tells us that will prevent us from being worthy of the kingdom, why we need the afflictions and the persecutions, etc. Revelation 14:12.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Eluah and the faith of Yahusha.
So the saints are the holy ones. They are the set apart ones. They keep the commandments of Allah and the faith of Yahusha. It is not easy to have the faith of Yahusha. The faith of Yahusha means the same faith that he had. Yes? The same faith. When people were killing him, he said, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. The same faith when he never wanted to die, he said, nevertheless, not my will, but let thy will be done. The same faith that could do all of those miracles, the same faith that Yahusha had, we have to have it. And the word says, Yahusha learned obedience by the things that he suffered. We also have to learn obedience to walk in the faith of Yahusha by the things that we suffer. No difference. Another verse that shows us things that will keep us out of the kingdom, Revelation 21, verse 8. Remember, being fearful is the opposite of faith.
But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
So this is why the Most High is merciful, because we will have these traits in us, but he mercifully brings us through different experiences to try to take all of these garbages out of us. If we are liars, he will put us through things that will change us from or stop us from being liars. If we are fearful, he will put us through things to make us brave. If we are unbelieving, he will make us reach to the point where we have to believe, and so on and so forth. All right? Now, what stops us as believers from progressing, especially when you are in an assembly, it is routines. Routines are good and routines are bad. A routine, what is a routine? From the dictionary, it says, a sequence of actions regularly followed. Regularly followed. So, for example, every morning we meet here at 6 o'clock. That is a routine. But that is a good routine. There are good routines and there are bad routines. That is a good routine because you wake up to praise and worship the Most High at that time. Now, if we look at similar words to routine, we get an understanding of how routines can be dangerous. One of the meanings is procedure. So it's a procedure, something that you follow, motions, as George said, a pattern. A pattern. So it's a set, fixed pattern. Now, what we are saying that you can go through regular patterns and the patterns become such a routine that you don't get anything spiritual out of it. All right? It can be habits, modus operandi or modes of operation. It can be an order. It can be customs. So some of these things, if performed regularly, they can be good and they can be bad. They are good if your heart is 100% in it and it is 100% spiritual. It is bad when your heart is not in it and you are just doing it for the routine. Now, routine is also an adjective, means performed, performed as part. Somebody just messaged me that they had a dream. They were supposed to tell me this morning, and the dream has everything to do with what I'm saying. Oh, Yahuwah. performed as part of a regular procedure rather than for a special reason. Okay? So, as I was saying, routines can be good and they can be bad. So, some people, for example, they have church. You go to church, you sit in church, sit in assembly, go to the routine, you sing, you get up, you vote, you go. Then you go, what do you do with the rest of your day? This is the thing with routines. If you have good routines, as a believer, to walk spiritually, you have to fill up the rest of the day spiritually. Some people go out their work for the entire day and there is nothing extra injected, no desire, no zeal, no zest for spiritual things otherwise. That is when a routine will tear you down. When you have good routines, you have to find different things to do between the routines. And the different things are often not routines. Things that you just do when the Ruach leads you. So that you benefit from the good routines, but then you are walking in faith, in Emunah, in the Ruach, in between. Now, go ahead.
Mean the difference between a discipline and a habit?
Yes.
A discipline would have a specific purpose, and a habit is just something that you practice unconsciously.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one. And the word says, who Yahuwah loves, he chastens or disciplines. So discipline has a lot to do with our way and our walk in the way. All right. So we must be partakers of the afflictions according to the power of Alua in order for us to be lifted up out of this world of routines. So if we are going through routines, the Most High will put us through afflictions in order to wake us up out of the routine. 2 Timothy 1 verses 7 to 10. 2 Timothy 1 verses 7 to 10. Go ahead.
For Alua hath not given us the ruach of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Be not thou, therefore, ashamed of the testimony of our master, nor of me, his prisoner, but be thou partaker of the afflictions of the good news, according to the power of Alua.
All right. Be thou partakers, you see it again, of the afflictions of the good news. The good news is going to come with afflictions. But the afflictions of the good news come according to the power of Alua. Now look on the previous verse. For Alua had not given us the ruach of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. In other words, the ruach that the Most High has given us enables us to be partakers of the afflictions of the good news. So if we have Ruach HaKadosh any at all, it is going to be manifested that we are walking in the Ruach when we do not have the Ruach of fear. We are not afraid of afflictions. But we will have the power. According to the power of Alua, we will have the power to walk in the afflictions of the good news. What is there humming like this? Okay. Isaiah 48 verses 9 to 11. Isaiah 48 verses 9 to 11. All right, so let me just recap what we're doing in case you are not following. We showed the dreams which showed that the end time wrath of the Most High, the time in which we are now, and we are showing how we reach to the point where we do not fall prey to that wrath. So when that happens, we are in a place where we do not have to worry, we do not have to panic. The Most High will have our back. Isaiah 48 verses 9 to 11. And it all comes down with being willing to take persecution and affliction now, so that when that time comes, then we would already have been perfected and we can avoid all of those foolishness. Isaiah 48:9.
For my name's sake will I defer mine anger, and for my praise will I refrain for thee, that I cut thee not off. Behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction.
Anybody who's questioning while we are teaching, we are going everywhere to bring out this affliction thing. Yeah? The Most High says, for my name's sake will I defer my anger. So his anger will not come upon us for his name's sake, because he has to perfect us. And how does he perfect us? Through the furnace of affliction, through the fire of affliction. Verse 11.
For mine own sake, even for mine own sake, will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my splendor unto another.
So the Most High says he'll bring us through the furnace of affliction for his name's sake, so that we do not pollute his name. Even us here. For example, a lot of people here, we go and we tell people, oh, we are here. The Most High sent us here, etc. Do you think the Most High is going to allow us to pollute his name here? He's not. And what does he say he's going to do? How is he going to avoid that? He's going to bring us through the furnace of affliction. Very simple. So that is why our walk here, our journey here has not been a stroll in the park. That is why we're commenting every day that everything seems to come hard. Nothing comes easy. Remember us speaking about that this morning? Yes. He's not going to allow us to pollute his name. So he takes us through the furnace of affliction. So what happens to us as believers? The problem that really happens to us is what happens to the average human being, and that is our desire for comfort, or desire for a comfort zone. Many people, that is why you have people who say they are fleeing, and what do? They don't want to gather together. What do they want to do? They want to relocate. So when I relocate, I have everything in my own hands. I determine everything. When I sleep, when I wake up, when I pray, when I do everything. When I eat, I have money, I finance myself. I determine everything. I control the narrative. So because I control the narrative, I am in my comfort zone. That does not get us into the kingdom. It is trouble that gets us into the kingdom. We have to live a life of trouble. Seriously. That's what the scripture, if anyone sees another way out, you show me. But what I'm seeing, that's it. So the danger of our comfort zones, again, Hamashiach, we made Yahusha said it, we made David say it, we made this, Isaiah say it, Jeremiah say it. Let's hear Yahusha tell us. The danger of our comfort zones, Luke 21:34.
And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares.
Remember we said everything was connected? This verse is connected to both dreams. Remember, in both dreams, we were caught unawares because we were there watching the destruction, watching the thing happening, and never knew it was so close. She was watching it and even doing the modern day thing. Instead of being aware, taking pictures, taking a video. Yeah? So that day come upon you unawares. So this is what it's telling, be overcharged with surfeiting. And we're going to look at surfeiting because the dictionary meaning of surfeiting is consuming too much of something. It has to do with greed, gluttony, etc. For those of us who love food and love pleasures, etc. Excess. This is surfeiting. Surfeiting comes from the Greek word krahipale, probably from the same as G726, properly a headache, as a seizure of pain from drunkenness. From drunkenness. That is by implication a debauch, by analogy a glut. So it is greed. And we know that when we're in Babylon, surfeiting is a hallmark of Babylon. It is going out and getting as much as you can. Not as much as you need, as much as you can. So if you have enough money to finance your life and finance your family, you have insurance, you have everything, you are not satisfied because Babylon makes you feel that you are insufficient if you do not keep pushing for more and more than what you have. So we're just going to have a little look at surfeiting, a little quick look at surfeiting. Sirach 37, 27 to 31. Sirach 37. What did I say? 27 to 31. Go ahead when you're ready.
My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it. For all things are not profitable for all men, neither hath every soul pleasure in everything. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats. For excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler. By surfeiting have many perished, but he that taketh heed prolongeth his life.
So we have to be satisfied with the bare minimum, especially with food, because many a sickness has come because of our gluttony, our greed for food. I know when I overeat, that is, what you call it, problems with digestion and all of those things. That is surfeiting. So this surfeiting is not only with food, it is with materialism as well. And many people out in the world are there craving materialism. Many believers who even come out of the world bring this attitude from Babylon with us, and we are there still surfeiting, still greedy for gain. 1 Corinthians 6:12. I think we are going there. Let me see if that is it. Okay. No. Read it, please.
All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any.
Continue.
Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but Alua shall destroy both, it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for Yahuwah, and Yahuwah for the body.
So meats for the belly and belly for meats. We must not be brought under the power, because the Most High will destroy both it and them. So those of us who are greedy for food, the Most High will destroy us. Gluttony is a sinful problem. So we have in Luke 21:34, Hamashiach spoke about drunkenness as well. Drunkenness. And we know drunkenness is when we are here in Babylon, getting carried away by the things of Babylon and the ways of Babylon. And Babylon just has us drunken, going according to it, following them up and their advertisements and all of their desires and their lusts that get us drunken. Let's look at 1 Thessalonians 5. Let's start at verse 1 to see what it has to say about drunkenness. Go ahead, please.
But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, For yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahuwah so cometh as a thief in the night.
All right, both dreams matched up with this. Again, as I said, there are little things from each thing that we put out that matches up. The day of Yahuwah comes as a thief in the night. Both dreams, persons were unprepared, not knowing that it was the day of Yahuwah in the first dream, and not knowing that Satan would be casting out water as a flood in the second dream. Verse 3.
For when they shall say, Peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Yeah, you see the warning. That's why we have to get ourselves in shape. We have to get ourselves in order. Verse 4.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness.
So what must we be doing? Verse 6.
Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober.
You see this sleep here? This sleep here, a very serious thing here. Let us watch and be sober. I'm going to get back to it. Go continue at 7.
For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us, who are of the day, be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation.
Verse 9.
For Yahuwah hath not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach,
Continue.
who died for us, that, whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him.
All right. So this word sleep here can also mean die. But it is funny how the Most High showed me throughout these last few weeks about literal sleep. A part of the routine that I found myself in was a sleep routine. I would do what I had to do during the day. Then at night, I would go to sleep, and I would sleep right through the night until the morning. Now, there was a brother here who came here, and he would wake up throughout the night, going out into the night, singing, praying, etc. And I said, no, you know what? When the Most High showed me that I have to press harder, I was too relaxed, I was too comfortable. I said, you know what? I'm going to try that. And so I would get up late in the night, and I would go outside singing and praying. And trust me, that has changed my spiritual life around. Totally turned it around. All of a sudden, all the dreams have come back. And I said, come back, I come back with a vengeance. Because now I could barely remember one dream a week or a few days. Now it is several, sometimes 3 dreams in one night, 4 dreams. The dreams are just pouring in. The wisdom is pouring in. The understanding is pouring in. Everything is pouring in. Simply by not sleeping, by getting up out of sleep. And let me tell you something, it's not easy. In the cold, under that warm sheet, in this pre-winter weather, it's not easy to go out there. And when I'm saying this to encourage others, because what we're going to speak about, we're going to speak of alternate ways to take ourselves out of that comfort zone, to put ourselves in the zone of affliction, to put ourselves through faith into places where we would not normally go in order for our ruach, our spiritual life to soar. And this has, as I said, has changed everything. It says, let us watch and be sober, not be drunken. So you're not drunken because you're not caught up in the rudiments, the routine that you had of this world. Okay? Now, that drunkenness, if we are drunken, the day of Yahuwah is going to catch us unawares. If we continue in our routines, the drunkenness is going to catch us unawares. Okay? So let's look at how to escape the day of Yahuwah. And we looked at it before. It all begins with gathering ourselves together, as it says in the book of Zephaniah chapter 2. Gather ourselves together. Because let us look at what will happen in the day of the destruction. We saw in the dreams the destruction. Let's see what the Bible says will happen on the day of the destruction, the day of Yahuwah. Remember, we said earlier, it is the proud who will be feeling it. Isaiah 2, verses 11 to 19. The proud and lofty shall perish. The day of Yahuwah targets the proud. Isaiah 2, 11 to 19. Let's see what's happening in the day of Yahuwah. Go ahead.
The lofty looks of man.
Sorry. Start from verse 10.
Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust for fear of Yahuwah and for the splendor of his majesty. The lofty looks of a man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day.
That is why it tells us in Zephaniah 2, when you are gathered together, Zephaniah 2, I think it's about verse 3. Seek ye Yahuwah. You have it? Read it.
Seek ye Yahuwah,
All ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of Yahuwah's anger. It is pride that is going to be a problem to us. Read verse 11, Isaiah 2, verse 11, please. Isaiah 2, verse 11.
The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of Yahuwah, Sabaoth, shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up,
And he shall be brought low. Continue.
And upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and upon all the oaks of Bashan, and upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up.
All the nations, all the high and proud nations. Continue.
And upon every high tower, and upon every fenced wall, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all pleasant pictures. And the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low, and Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day.
All right, we can stop there. So we see the day of Yahuwah is targeting the proud. We have to get off our pride, and that is why the Most High helps us by afflicting us and making us go through sufferings and persecutions and all sorts of things in order to bring us down low. So in the day of Babylon as well, in the day of Yahuwah, Babylon will also be destroyed. It will see the destruction of Babylon as the first dream showed. And I said it reminded me of Isaiah 51. I think it's the destruction of Babylon. Isaiah 13 verses 6.
Howl ye, for the day of Yahuwah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another.
Their
faces shall be as flames.
Remember, flames in the first dream. Continue.
Behold, the day of Yahuwah cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
So the fire was wiping out the place to lay it desolate. Continue.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
Pride again. Pride being hit on the day of Yahuwah. Continue.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of Yahuwah Sabaoth, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
This is what's going to happen in Babylon. Every man flee into his own land. If you don't flee Babylon, it says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Verse 16.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it.
By the way, you know that this is speaking about what's happening to the people of Babylon. And in Psalm 137, I think 8 to 9, tells you that the people of Babylon will be Edom. This is actually telling you what's going to happen to the people of Edom. Psalms 137. Lest anyone say I'm lying. 137. Verse 7.
Remember, O Yahuwah, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon,
Children of Edom,
who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
All right, this is Babylon. These are the children of Edom. So go back to verse 16.
Chapter.
The 16 of Isaiah 13 to show that these are the children of Edom it's talking about. We just look at Psalm 137 verse 9 that says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone, O daughter of Babylon, the children of Edom. All right, go ahead.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children.
And Babylon.
And Babylon, the splendor of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when Eluah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
And remember in the dream, tongues of fire were coming down. Sodom and Gomorrah, it was brimstone and fire, was it? brimstone and fire. Similar thing. Same thing. Now, we just spoke about the children of Edom. The children of Edom. The day of Yahuwah, Esau will be destroyed, and righteous Yasharal will be restored. Obadiah 1, verses 15 to 18. We're looking at what will happen in the day of Yahuwah. Obadiah 1, verses 15 to 18. Obadiah, of course, only has one chapter. So it's Obadiah, verses 15 to 18. Go ahead, please.
For the day of Yahuwah is near upon all the heathen.
As thou hast done,
it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
So in the day of Yahuwah, his vengeance is going to come on the heathen. What they have done is going to happen to them. That is why it says in Revelation 13:10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Your reward shall return upon your own head. Continue.
For as ye have drunk upon my set apart mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
So this is our aim. That is why we are gathered together. Upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. We are gathered to be taken to Zion. That is our aim for us to partake of this deliverance. Verse 18.
And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahuwah has spoken it.
So the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau will be for stubble. So the children of Israel in the day of Yahuwah will be risen up as an army to destroy the children of Esau. As powerful as Esau is with all his atomic weapons and all of that, verse 20 of Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51, verse 20. Start at verse 19. No, 18.
They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation they shall perish.
This is Babylon or Edom. Go ahead.
The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things. And Yasharel is the rod of his inheritance. Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock, and with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahuwah.
This is a very brutal outcome. You see, we are here as nice little believers. When the Most High activates our people, it's going to be wicked. Look at it. With thee will I break in pieces the old and the young. So this destroying, dashing little children against the stone, it's our people that's going to do it. Sounds strange, doesn't it? Sounds weird, doesn't it? But when the Most High, and that is the righteous judgment of the Most High. That is the righteous judgment. Anyway, so this day of Yahuwah, we have to try to avoid it. We have to make sure we are on the right side of it. Now, during this time as well, it's about four dreams. I had another dream as well. It was right around the time when there was a spiritual rebirth in this assembly. People just got up, started wanting to fast, and no simple fast. Some people, 3 days straight, no water, no food. Hard fast. And it was really funny to see so many people opting to do these hard fasts without anyone directing them. And then around that time, when that was happening, I had a few dreams that gave me more understanding again into us, what we need to do, what the Most High is showing us that we need to do, the changes that we need to make in order to become more spiritual. And that was a little before people said they wanted to re-baptize as well. Now, the dream was that, let me see if I can remember. I was there as I was there just watching, spectator. And there was this little girl who went to fast. And she went to fast in a very, very remote location. There was grass on one side, and on the other side was a place of sand. And I remember that little girl was fasting and seeking Yahuwah. Now, before I had that dream, there was another dream. I dreamt that our sister here, Chassad, was in the assembly speaking, asking something in the assembly. Where can I find this in the Bible? And I said, okay, it's not in the Bible, but it's in the Shepherd of Hermas. And she was saying, Shepherd of Hermas, I want to see it in the Bible. Those books, I don't trust those books. And then I said to myself, in the dream, and I know that Hassad reads those books in reality. So I was saying in the dream that, you know what? She has not reached the level of maturity that is needed to understand why we read those books. She was not here with us from the beginning when we were being exposed to those books, when we took those books and tested them and tried them and went through them in detail to see if there's any error in them or any contradiction with the Bible, etc. And I was saying, but she wasn't even with us when we started the ministry, laying the building blocks by building blocks, learning step by step until we reached to this point. And by the way, when I woke up, it's something that told me about people who actually listen to us. I hope I remember to include this. But right away, the dream changed to this girl in this remote location in fasting. And the girl fasted and fasted until she was finished. And when she was finished, I was looking at her and she just stood, this little girl just stood on the sand in the middle of nowhere waiting on us to come and pick her up. And in the dream, I was told that she is 100 miles away from anywhere. That word 100. 100 miles away from anywhere. And when I woke up, I got the understanding of the dream. That people will be listening to us, but they start to listen to us in the latter parts of where we are. We built a foundation we have been doing videos for example, for about 6-7 years, I think. 6-7 years. And everything was built from scratch from the first time I did a broadcast when I was trembling in my voice. And I was that until getting stronger, learning and learning more and more. And the first video was about basics, was about the Sabbath. And so people don't know the building. They just come and they just hear. And because they just hear, all of what we speak now is based on what was built over time. What we learned here, we learned there. And so that is the building block. So when we speak now, people don't know where we are coming from with what we are coming from. They just hear it. All right? So it came to me that the people who are listening to us, especially people who are out there on the internet, for example, they come and they listen to us. It will be hard for them to spiritually connect with what we are saying unless they go back to the foundation, to the building blocks. All right? They will not be able to understand. Now, there is a verse, 2 Corinthians 6, that I like, that kind of matches up with what I am saying, where people have to push themselves. People have to actually push in order to reach spiritually to the Most High in order for there to be any growth. 2 Corinthians 6, verses 1 to 13. This is a very difficult thing from Shaul. Read it, please.
We then, as workers together with him, beseech you also that ye receive not the favor of Eloah in vain.
So we can receive the favor of the Most High through Yahusha in vain. We can be wasting our time. Now he's going to tell us what we need to do to ensure that we are not wasting our time. Verse 2.
For he saith, I have heard thee in a time accepted, and in the day of salvation I have succored thee. Behold, now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Giving no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed, but in all things approving ourselves as the ministers of Eloah, in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, in distresses, in stripes, in imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings,
In fastings,
by pureness, by knowledge, by long-suffering, by kindness, by the Ruach HaKadosh, by love unfeigned.
All right. So what he's actually encouraging them is that in going through these things, it will ensure that they have not received the favor of the Most High, or grace as they call it, in vain. This is what we are saying, that we have to emphasize these spiritual things. These things take us out of our comfort zones. These things have nothing to do with comfort zone. Nothing at all. All right? Much patience, afflictions, necessities, in distresses, in stripes, that's beatings, in imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings, in fastings. The one that I gave you about the dream about the girl was just fasting. This is what we're talking about. It's setting ourselves apart, afflicting our own selves in order that we do not accept the Most High in vain. All right? Then it gives you the spiritual things now by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering, by kindness, by Ruach HaKadosh, by love unfeigned. Continue.
By the word of truth, by the power of Eloah, by the armor of righteousness on the right hand and on the left.
And then he goes on to tell us about two contrasts here, by honor and dishonor. What he means by these contrasts, it doesn't mean that he's going to be dishonoring. It means that he's going to give honor, but we are going to be dishonored. By evil report and good report means people are going to give evil report about us, but we are going to give good report. Read verse 8, please.
By honor and dishonor, by evil report and good report, as deceivers and yet true.
So people are going to even call us deceivers. But it says, and yet true. We have to go through all of these things, all of these afflictions, all of these burdens in order to be perfected. Verse 9.
As unknown, and yet well known, as dying, and behold, we live, as chastened, and not killed, as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing, as poor, yet making many rich, as having nothing, and yet possessing all things.
This is what we're talking about, people. We have to be willing to fight these good fight, to go through all of these unfortunate things in order to be perfected. Verse 11.
O ye Corinthians, our mouth is open unto you, our heart is enlarged. Ye are not straitened in us, but ye are straitened in your own bowels. Now for a recompense in the same, I speak as unto my children, be ye also enlarged.
Be ye also enlarged. So our heart is enlarged. You are straightened. You are cramped in your own bowels, which means that we ourselves are determining the unfortunate situation in which we are in. Now he says here, be ye also enlarged. Shaul is saying that he is enlarged because of what they went through, what they have gone through. Now he's telling the Corinthians, be ye also enlarged. Also go through the same things that we go through so that you can be enlarged. So, my advice, most of us need to start over. Most of us need to start over. We must bring ourselves out of our comfort zones in religion. The ritual, doing the same thing over and over again, just following the leader doing the same thing over and over again, not willing to ourselves take ourselves out and do things with the Most High, before the Most High. That is a problem. We must bring ourselves out of our comfort zones in religion to be brought out of the flesh so that we can align ourselves spiritually with the Most High. If we remain in our routines only, remember, routines can be bad. The routines are good if you add to them. But if we remain in our routines only, so for example, you're in an assembly like this, you just go through the routines that the assembly gives you. If you do that only, we will remain carnal and will not have the spiritual connection to the Most High that we need to be His children. This is what I have discovered. This is what I've discovered through my apathy and my lethargy when I let down the guard and started only going by the routines. And then when I was reawakened, this is what I have discovered I am sharing. In other words, we will simply be religious folks waiting to hear Matthew 7:21 to 23. I never knew you, you workers of iniquity. Because if you are not going through the pressure, if you are not bringing yourself through the pressure, you will remain in iniquity, you will remain in lawlessness and not even realizing that was what I was revealed to me. Because I had gone down in a snoozing zone, yes, and it was as if I was just going through the motions. And I guess I went through that, the Most High put me through that, so that I can come and beseech others. So most of us need to start over. We need to start drinking milk. Remember I said many persons listening to us did not go through the foundation, the formative years when we were there building upon building upon building upon building. Some people that's come and they come and they think, oh, I'm happy that I found you and such and such. The teachings are so whatever. But then, it will just be routine of just listening to teachings, hearing this and learning this. Where will be the faith? Where will be the faith that is needed for it to kick into action? So some people will have to go back to basics in the word. If you came into the word, you started just listening to people at a higher level of understanding. You didn't go through the basics. You will need to go to the basics. Hebrews 5, verses 5 onwards. Hebrews 5, verse 5. Go ahead.
So also Hamashiach is exalted not himself to be made an high priest, but he that said unto him, Thou art my son, today I have begotten thee. As he saith also in another place, Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared, though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered.
So you see, Hamashiach learned obedience by the things which he suffered. We have to go through suffering to be perfected. Continue.
And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him, called of Eluah, and high priest after the order of Melchizedek,
Continue.
of whom we have many things to say, and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing.
So, if we don't have the foundation, certain things we are not going to be able to hear. We are going to be hard of hearing because we have not reached the spiritual maturity to be able to assimilate or to take in certain teachings. So he says he have many things to say, but he says it's hard for him to say it because you are dull of hearing. Verse 12.
For when the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Eluah, and are become such as have need of milk, and not of strong meat.
So you see, if you don't have the foundation, you will not be able to take the strong meat. We will not be able to take the strong meat if we don't have the foundation of milk. You don't have a child, and the child is born. I'm speaking to many people who come to the word now. The child is born or young, and you are feeding him out of the pot with meat and yam and potato and pumpkin and banana, boiled banana. You don't feed him like that. You first have to feed him milk. Yes? Many of us have gone to the place where we just come into the word and we are eating meat. We are not ready for the meat, but we are eating it. Many of us people, we have to go back and drink the milk. Lay the foundation so that you can understand strong meat. Verse 13.
For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
So the meat is for those who are of full age. How can you be of full age and you just came into the way? Or even if you came into the way for a long time, but you have just been listening, did not go down to the foundation. This is what has happened to a lot of people who are following us. Yeah? They need to go back to the foundation. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 1. Yeah, so the 1 Corinthians 3 is going to show you that you will even have divisions because of this. Disparity in understanding. Start from verse 1.
And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Hamashiach. I have fed you with milk, and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able.
So here's the thing. Not everyone can take the meat. Some people have to just drink the milk until they can bear the meat. He says, for hitherto you were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. So when someone, this is why I tell people, a lot of people will have to start over. As we saw happening amongst us, when people here started over, wanted to rebaptize, going into deep fasting and digging deep, seeking the Most High, many of us will have to start over. Because when you are at the milk stage, you are going to be carnal. Verse 3 says, for ye are yet carnal. Read from verse 2 into 3, please.
I have fed you with milk, and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able, for ye are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying, and strife, and divisions, are ye not carnal, and walk as men?
All right, so that's it. If there are divisions, strife, envying, it shows that we are carnal, and it shows that we are at the level of milk. We are not ready for meat. All right? So, we're almost at the end. So I had another dream now, a fourth dream. And this dream is the summary of it all. I think it was the last one. These dreams are a series that the Most High is giving us to give us understanding and encouragement. Now this dream, there was a song back in the 2000s in Jamaica, I think, 2000 something, called Full 100. And the chorus was just full 100, full 100. That's how the chorus went. Now, full 100 is a slang in Jamaica. It became a slang from that time to mean to give it all you've got. Full 100%. So I was dreaming, and in the dream, I was there in a building looking outside, and I was singing full 100. And then people were passing outside, and everyone that was passing was saying the same thing. Full 100. People passing, like two people passing together, both of them, full 100. And I woke up after all of this that I was given. I woke up and I got the understanding that the Most High was telling us. And you look at the meaning of 100, it means to reach to perfection. It is actually telling us that we have to give everything we have now to reach to perfection. Everything to reach to perfection. The dreams, I believe, are warnings of the end time, the impending end time, and of things that will come on the earth in a snap of a finger. Now, we have to get ourselves ready. And we get ourselves ready through the afflictions that we go through. We get ourselves ready by our fastings, our prayers, our diligence, our breaking out of our routines, our seeking the Most High with all our hearts, as he says in Jeremiah 29:13, and ye shall seek me and find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart. We search for him with all our hearts, and we will find him. So we, for example, are here. We are here. We have no excuse not to be diligent, because he has provided the facilities, whatever we have, to seek him without the surfeiting and the drunkenness and the cares of this life. So he has provided what we need in order to search for him, to seek him. People, we have to seek him. I believe that this is a warning to us, to those people out there who are in lethargy. Most of us believers we are just so lazy going through the routines. We are not seeking the Most High. We are not passionately seeking him as if our lives depended on it. Okay, and as I said, this is what I realized. Taking everything for granted, going through routines, that does not help us. All right? We have to wake up and we have to turn to our Father, Yahuwah, Sabaoth. So we close here today with remembering, without faith, it is impossible to please him. It's all about faith. It is faith that will make us get up and move out of our comfort zones. Because whatever we do is going to be done out of emunah, is going to be done out of faith. Hebrews 11 verse 6.
But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Eluah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
And this was my experience. Stop seeking him, just going through routines. He almost vanished away. Started seeking him, then the rewards are being given. Mind is being opened up again, getting the dreams, getting visions, getting insights once again. People, we have to wake up. We are near the end of the age. We don't know when the day of Yahuwah will come upon us. We are very right near into the time of action in this earth. We need to wake up. We need to stop going through this routine, this religious routine. We need to push. We got to push, 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 push. We got to push. We got to push. We have to press. This is what I'm appealing to us here for and to everyone who's out there. Push. Seek the Most High with all your heart. Seek spiritual things. Come out of the routine. The routine cannot save us. The routine is only going to give Belial, only going to give Satan a foothold in our lives. That is what he loves. That is why he loves religion. That is why he set up the religions of this earth. The religions are routines. Routines that fool us, that they will get us into the kingdom. That is not what the Most High wants. The Most High wants us to walk with him. As he said to Abraham, walk before me and be perfect, something like that. Or Noah, one of them. Yeah, we have to walk with him. We have to have the relationship. And Christians love to say it. A relationship. What is our relationship with him? Are we seeking him? Are we sleeping through the night? Are we sleepers? Or are we watching and sober? That is the word. Yahuwah. All right, anyone with anything to say or to ask, please do so.
Yeah, some time ago, I think I was hearing a teaching from someone online, and one of the things they said that was very, very striking was that they believe that one of the major sins that's going to get people, or that might keep people away from the kingdom, I think it was the sin of idolatry. The sin of idolatry, because we see what's going on in the world and how it's so easy to idolize anything in our life and put it above the Most High, giving it more thought, reverence, respect, or even just time. And it's very easy to do that in this modern day. So the sin of idolatry is very dangerous. But for me, over, I would say, the past few weeks, I think 3 sins have been highlighted that in general, for any man, we have to be wary of. And it's the 3 sins. The first one of pride, as you were speaking about earlier, because we see how pride manifests. It's not just a simple thing where you think you're better than people, or it's a high look, or a mindset of you thinking that you're above others, but it goes much deeper into many different things. and it permeates through all of a person, and it's not just one simple thing. And likewise with idolatry, which is the second one, which we see in this modern world. It's easy to get caught up in idolatry because there's everything to keep us focused on the world and our flesh and nothing on the Most High.
Yes.
And then the third one is lust. Because if you think about it, you look around in this world, you go online, you go to the stores, you go outside, or you go into town or in the cities, what do you see? Things that appeal to our lusts, and that's all over. So we have to be wary of lust because even in the scripture it tells us to flee youthful lusts.
Yes.
Things like fornication and adultery, all of those sins are very, very dangerous. And so as a result, as believers, we need to know the danger of lust and how it's so easy to get caught up in that. So those three sins, I think, we need to be wary of mostly,
Yes.
also in the end time.
Yes. And as you spoke about idolatry, it hit me. This morning I had a dream. Was someone referring to someone and saying, in Jamaican, he idolized himself, you see, man? What that means? Oh, how he idolizes himself. And the name of the person was spoken, but I can't speak the name. And it is a sinner in this world, but the person was just disgusted at how this person idolizes themselves. And then you coming now, speaking about idolatry. Yada Yahuwah. Anyone else? Yazi? Oh, George? Hold on.
Just a quick recap on those two early dreams. Yours was fire, and the other one was water. Both of them, you were overtaken.
Yes.
And you kind of looked, you saw it coming, but you thought you had more time than you did. Is that my understanding? So you were caught off guard?
Yes. Yes.
Which is what's going to happen to the people sitting there thinking they've got all the time in the world. It's going to happen. They're going to be overtaken and just no hope.
It will happen to us as well who are here, who think we have all the time, not focused. So we have to be strident, very, very strident in this time. Very, very strident. Yeah. Izzy? Amikai? Joel? Al? All right. So, thank you all for watching as we looked at full 100. It's actually 4, not 3. 4. I think it's 4. End time dreams and their implications for us. All right. So, thank you all for watching. Please share this with someone. And until next time, shalom.
Shalom.